Good morning out there, traders. It is June 4th, 2024, and welcome to the Apteros Daily Market Insight. Let's start with our recap. So, taking a look at what was going on yesterday, we had a pretty straightforward scenario around a bearish line in the sand in which we were looking for scenario one being a hold below that area, scenario two being a move up above it. Never really needed scenario two at all. Whenever it came to targets, this was our main target for the opening, drive of that session, looking for that, and then anything stretched beyond that was bonus material for us if we ended up seeing scenario one play out in a big way. And you can see from our price action, that's pretty much exactly what we got here. So taking a look at what was going on yesterday coming into the open, we had some nice highs, good inflections to get short from out of our line in the sand, going into some neutral target areas, then kind of stabilizing for a little bit here before really starting the sell-off. And then once the sell-off came into, we got our full target there at that point. That was pretty much what we were planning overall with the first leg of this trade. And then it was all about monitoring to see how bearish the market was. The sellers had control of the tape. They had control of price, so they started pushing below some of these target areas, offering us a continuation opportunity, an add, if you will, or even a hold for your bigger stretch targets if depending on how you manage in your system around that. But a nice inflection here off of a neutral area along with scenario one that we were paying attention to, going straight down into our next target, then kind of stabilizing for a little while before capitulating into its final move down into our furthest kind of area down below there. And then, of course, I say that like it happens all the time, but the last two sessions we've been seeing those late afternoon rallies just kind of really pushing out of areas. Nothing for us to do with that information, though, really, because scenario one was all about capturing this down move. That was where our analysis was. That was what we were paying attention to. And then as it went through targets, we really don't care about what happens after that because we've hit, the trade idea, right on the nail on the head, as it were, just kind of really getting a good feel for how that market was behaving that particular day. And after that, the up move here, not really a part of our plan, not really a part of our situation. And then, of course, that was pretty much it for the session. So let's take a look at what's going on today. So today we find the ES in a little bit more of a balanced state in the short term. The balanced area really kind of in here that we're paying attention to and monitoring for the early part of the session. Well, actually for today's session altogether, because essentially this is the rotational kind of context for the ES right now on the shorter time frames. So whenever it comes to scenarios, really scenario one is all about, kind of staying in this zone. So at this point here, we come down to the bullish zone. The expectation is that we possibly see more bullishness, at least up into this neutral zone here, and then a possible continuation to test the highs. It may get there, it may not. Like I said, we're not in the business of predicting. We are in the business of consistently applying our analysis. So scenario one is that rotational nature in this area. From there, we get into what happens if we start to break out of that area. And I'll just call it like a general scenario two for breakouts in either direction. Whenever it comes to that, the breakouts in either direction are pretty straightforward. Scenario two being a breakout to the downside would be a continuation down into actually tagging this reference that we were talking about yesterday and kind of creating some excess below this particular low, right, in the price action there. So possible stop runs or something like that down into this neutral zone and possibly even getting some stretch targets a little bit further. If it's a really bearish day, obviously this particular line in the sand is going to fail, and we're going to end up seeing that continuation to the downside. And there's neutral references a little bit below there as well, just to pay attention to if it gets into a bearish trending type of situation. All right, so that's the bearish breakout to the downside there. And if we get the bullish one, in other words, our bull area here holds up, we start rotating up to the top. That would be a completion of that scenario one there. And then, of course, if we get that breakout scenario, we're looking at this neutral area, and then this reference up above here is kind of the overall push for that bullish side of things. And if it gets up above that, a little bit more of a neutral stretch target out there. So that's kind of the breakdown of the overall breakout scenarios from scenario one. So remember, scenario one is a rotational context inside of this area here. Breakouts are south and north of that rotational area. Okay, so that's the general feel for what we're going for today. Trade well out there, mind your risk, and let's have a great trading day.